Hi friends, Pastor Jeff here with another daily devotional. Today I want to talk about what God wants us to do when we see wrongdoing happen. How does God want us to be a people of justice? And I want to look at this through the story of Eli, who was a priest in the house of God, and how he dealt with, or should I say, failed to deal with, his sons who were committing wrongdoings. This story comes to us in 1 Samuel chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 22 through 24, and then we're going to jump down to 29 through 30. Now Eli was very old, and he kept hearing all that his sons were doing to all of Israel, and how they lay with the women who were serving at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And he said to them, "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all these people. No, my sons, it's no good report that I hear the people of the Lord spreading abroad." He says that to his sons, but then that just stays a private conversation. He never actually follows through and does anything about it. And so a prophet comes, and this is what this prophet says to Eli. So this is speaking to Eli now, not his son, speaking to Eli. "Why then do you scorn my sacrifices and my offerings that I commanded for my dwelling, and honor your sons above me by fattening yourselves on the choicest parts of every offering of my people Israel? Therefore the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promised that your house and the house of your father should go in and out before me forever. But now, the Lord declares, far be it from me, for those who honor me I will honor, and those who despise me shall be lightly esteemed." See, here's what's going on. Eli's sons, as sons of the priest, had a certain amount of power. But instead of using their power to serve people, they instead exploited their position of power to harm those who were vulnerable. And Eli, who is supposed to be kind of overseeing these types of things, he's not been paying attention. He's been blinded because of his own personal bias to see any wrongdoing of his sons, and so he doesn't respond until he hears the reports going on. Right? It said a couple times, twice in verses 22 through 24. He's responding to what he heard from other people. He's not responding to his own internal conviction. He had been blinded by personal bias to see how his sons were exploiting their power. But then he goes and he corrects them and says, hey, what you're doing is not right. But then he doesn't do anything else beyond that. He doesn't follow through. He doesn't remove them from their positions of authority. He instead allows them to stay there, thinking that, well, just a little slap on the wrist is going to get something done. And so this prophet comes, and this prophet then rebukes Eli. Like Eli hadn't done anything wrong. Eli hadn't been the one who was exploiting his position of power. And yet the rebuke comes to Eli. And Eli is told that he no longer is going to be honored by God, but instead he's charged with despising God. He's charged with not doing his duty as a priest, not giving the sacrifices the way he was supposed to. There's no recording that he ever did do the sacrifices wrong. Like Eli discharged his jobs perfectly, but what he failed to do was to speak out publicly about the sins of his sons. He failed to correct them in public. He just kept it as this little private side deal. And here's this principle that I think we need to kind of get. When we fail to speak about things that are wrong, when we remain silent, we become just as wrong as the people who are doing those things in the first place. When we fail to speak about things that are wrong, to use our voice, to publicly talk about this is wrong, this is not right, this brings dishonor in God. When we fail to do that, we become complicit in the very act of evil that's taking place. The reason that I wanted to talk about justice now is because I record this the day before it gets released. So this is being recorded on Wednesday. And for the past 24 hours, I've just been thinking, praying, grieving after having seen the video, yet another video of a black man being killed. The video of George Floyd is horrific. And I'll be clear to say right away, I know not all cops are bad cops. I've got a lot of friends in blue. And in fact, one of my concerns is that when these heinous crimes are done by people who are abusing their position of authority, that just makes it harder for other cops, for other brave men and women who put on that uniform to serve us each and every day. And so I'm angry at the corruption that exists in, people like the police officers and these 4 police officers in this Minneapolis situation. Like, I'm angry at that because I do care about my friends who are police officers, and this just makes their life incredibly harder. But obviously my heart mostly goes out to my black-skinned brothers and sisters. It's hard to know what to say anymore. And I know these things have always been there. It's just now that we're having videos being taken easier, and so we're seeing these things more regularly. And that's sad that it takes a video. What if there wasn't a video? How often do these things like this happen where there is no video? And so we just need to be clear that Christians should have a clear sense. As people of faith, we should have a clear sense of justice. Like, Christians need to be able to speak out publicly about these things. We should be the first voice calling for justice because we believe that there's a God we answer to. And so no matter the fallout, no matter the blowback, like, we believe we answer to God. And so Christians should never try to spin things or just keep things private. No, we should deal with things out in the open when there is grave injustice taking place. The reality is, lives matter. Justice matters because lives matter. Justice matters because lives matter. And lives matter because God has made people in His image, and Jesus died on the cross to save people from their sins. And so God says that we are valuable and have inherent value and dignity and worth because we're made in His image, and we're valuable because Christ, His blood has purchased our salvation. Like, that's how valuable God sees us as, like, people worth dying for. And so, man, when you're touching human life, you're touching something sacred. When you're touching human life, you're touching something sacred. And so if we see wrong being done to human life, if we see injustice taking place, then Christians who believe that there is an eternal God that we answer to, Christians who believe that every life has been made in the image of God, Christians who believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ, who laid down His life to purchase us for Himself, man, we should care about justice because justice is about the character of God and justice is about the gospel of Jesus. And so whether it's this particular wrong or something else that you see that's wrong, man, we should never try to downplay these things. Our response should be that we stand up and give voice about what God values. And so I hope this just gets some people thinking, maybe gets you talking in ways you should be talking. More than anything else, I hope this gets you praying. How is God calling you to be someone who knows how to take a stand and speak up for justice? God bless you. May the Lord be with you. See you tomorrow with another daily devotional, Lord willing.